Hey everybody, Belinda Sandor here. Good morning. Welcome to Lessons from the Cockpit. Hey, welcome. Come on in. I'm glad you're here. I'm going to start with a funny story. So this is Lessons from the Cockpit. I'm Belinda Sandor. If you're joining me for the first time, I am the founder of the VA Connection, where I coach and mentor aspiring and established virtual assistants and help them create, grow, and scale their VA businesses. And I do this in a variety of ways. I do this in my free online community, the VA Connection on Facebook. Jump over there if you're not a member yet. In my courses and my coaching programs. And today I'll be hosting Lessons from the Cockpit. A lot of you know that enrollment is open for my signature program called VA School. I'll put the link up where you can find more information. And, I have to tell you, this is so funny. A lot of us think, and we're going to talk about a different topic, but I want to talk about this first for a second. A lot of us think that it's important to be able to remember everything, hold everything together, and we don't put support systems in place. Support systems are critical when you're a human and when you're an entrepreneur, absolutely. And so I have reminders. So this is a live stream show that happens at 10:30 every Tuesday morning. And I have reminders on my phone. And not only does the reminder go off, it tells me what the reminder is for, because I have kind of a busy schedule. And because enrollment for VA school is open and we just added this new super cool bonus and all kinds of stuff, I'm kind of running around a little. I'm not feeling stressed in any way, but there's just a lot of things to remember. And so 10 minutes ago, my alarm went off. I was prepared for what I'm going to talk about, but I wasn't dressed yet. So what's so funny is, because I don't know, a year ago, I set up a recurring reminder on my phone that says Lessons from the Cockpit, because I thought, you know what, I could pull it together in 10 minutes no matter what's going on. And I was right. So I jumped in the shower, flipped my hair, put on some clothes, and here I am. But for those of you who miss things in your life, or things feel a little hectic, use support systems like reminders on your phone, like reminders on your calendar. Hints. I'll often put a Post-it on my keyboard to remind me of the first thing I need to do when I sit down at my desk again. And so that's kind of it's an important thing to think about. All right. So tell me where you are, who you're, where you're coming in from. And all right. So we've got Talara's here from Calgary, and Jennifer from Europe. Christiane is here from Saskatchewan. Okay. So today I'm going to share tactical and practical information with you. And specifically, we're going to talk about working with different client types. So before we do that, I want to jump in, and I want to tell you about a very exciting event in my life that I want to share with you. On October 17th, a book called Shine Your Light is going to be released on Amazon. I have been working on this all year. I am one of 13 authors who is sharing their story with the hopes of helping other people, other women, move from wherever they are to where they want to be. And so it's the story. It really starts. It's the story of how I came out from the mess that I was in, the 6 figures of debt. All of the divorce and the selling my home and all the things that I've told you about. It's interesting because it was such a journey for me to write this. It took so much longer than I thought. I mean, I don't know what I was thinking, but it took a long time. And it was very cathartic, because I went back to really kind of 3rd grade, if you will, and traced how this happened and what I was doing to get myself into this situation. And it finally was like a magnifying glass, with the sun shining on it, and started a fire. But it really was something that started all those years ago. So here's why I'm telling you this. I want to invite you to join the book launch team. And let me tell you what that means. It means a couple of things. One is that you'll commit to buying the book. I think it's $16.99 on October 17th, not before, but right on that day, because we're going for Amazon bestselling status, or that status isn't the right word. I can't think of the word, but anyway. And so we're very excited about that. And okay, so let me back up. So what you would be committing to is buying a book on that day. You'd be part of a Facebook group of super cool people. A lot of them are my friends, so that would be awesome. And in addition to that, you'll promote it on that day. And what that means is you'll tell a friend, you'll put a post on Facebook, you'll send it to your entire list, whatever you want. There's no expectation. It's just about buying a book, sharing the word. You could even post it on your Facebook, whatever feels comfortable to you. All right. Now, 100% of the proceeds of this book go directly to an incredible organization named Kiva. Kiva sponsors microloans to women entrepreneurs all over the world so that they can start their business as well. So that's what's really exciting about this, was that I got to heal. I got to take next steps in my business. And now the result is that and it only takes 5 book sales to fund a microloan. Okay. Super cool. So you could buy 5 books. You could be a Kiva hero, give them out for holiday gifts to the favorite women in your life, and spread the word. The stories, I can't wait to read them. The authors and I, we all work together side by side, but we haven't read each other's stories. So the 17th is going to be a really big day for me as well. Here's how you sign up. There was this really long URL and I was tripping over it all the time. So last night I set up belindasbook.com. All right, belindasbook.com. And I'll try to put that in the comments. I don't know if that's going to work. belindasbook.com. Okay, if you go there, you'll see the sign up page. I think that comment didn't go everywhere, but belindasbook.com, sign up, join me. We're going to have a big celebration at the end. And I would love for you to have the feeling of not only participating in, thank you, Susie. I love that you did that. Thank you. Have the feeling of participating with a group of like-minded women who want to change their lives, who are an inspiration, which is who you all are. And also providing microloans to women. Very exciting. Okay, good. Okay, so, I'm going to kind of skip through my story a little bit in the interest of time. But for those of you who are joining us newly, I kind of hinted at it when I was talking about the book called Shine Your Light. But essentially what happened was I kind of slid into 50. And I was in a train wreck called my life. This is my daughter back then, Emily. And, I'm getting divorced. I have to sell my home. I have 6 figures of debt. I have a business that has epically failed. I owe 7 years of back taxes. I mean, on and on and on and on. And I needed to figure this out. And so the short story of this is that I learned how to listen to the voice in my own head in a good way. Thanks, Carrie. In a good way, I stopped listening to all the external noise that was happening, friends, family, all the stuff. And I just quieted myself down and I started to trust myself. It was a journey. It was a journey because literally I'm standing there literally on fire and everyone is throwing advice on me. And it was so overwhelming. And so I quieted the noise. I kind of went inside myself. I decided I wanted to go back to my roots, which was admin work. I was a secretary in the dark ages. I wanted to do it on my own because I didn't want to share the revenue with the temp agency or Upwork. I didn't even know what Upwork was. I don't even know if there was Upwork 13 years ago when I started my business, but I didn't want to do that. And so I just started telling everyone that I knew that this is the kind of work that I wanted to do. I was able to, so I'm at the school bus stop one day and I tell one of the dads says, "What's new?" And I tell him and he's like crazy happy because he needs my help. He started a business. I had no idea. And so it just went on and on and on. And there's more about my story on the vaconnection.com. But I want to dive into our topic today, so I'm going to cut it short. Fast forward, I leaned in, I changed my mindset. I started keeping my word to myself. Write that down. If you are not where you want to be, check in with yourself. Are you telling yourself, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, and then you're getting slippery and not doing it? All right, that's a big one. So the first year in business, I made $70,000. And for the next 10 years, I made $100,000 or more as a virtual assistant. And the systems that I developed to build my own business are what I teach at the VA Connection, and specifically in VA school, where you can find more information right here. Right, doors are closing tonight at midnight. And fast forward, totally different picture, right? Totally different picture. We've expanded. I married the most perfect man in the world for me at 60 years old. You know, sometimes, like this morning, I go into the kitchen when he gets up way before me, and I go in the kitchen, and it's like he's brewed me fresh iced tea. Like, he gives me a hug. He listens to me go on and on about crazy stuff, and it's just the best to learn to trust yourself and make choices from that place. And things, things change. Things change when we do that. And I can breathe again. I can breathe again in a way that maybe I haven't since I was a little girl and all the craziness started. It's kind of insane. So this is us on our wedding day. My 4 handsome stepsons, and Emily and I and Greg. All right. Okay, so let's dive into this topic. Most of the time, we work with people we've never met. Okay. And it took me a while to get used to this, particularly since people can have very different communication styles. Okay. So we really have to learn how to work with a variety of client types, because there's no cookie cutter client. Well, that would be great if there were, right? But there's definitely not. Every client's different. Some like to email me their work. Some want to talk to me on the phone. Some have used project management software to communicate with me. And given all of the different styles and personalities, there's a big chance for miscommunication, right? About expectations, deadlines, all the things. Okay, right? Mm-hmm. So just accept that. All right, just accept that. And I want to teach you how to do something that I call reverse delegation. And if you want to know more about that, you can go over to the blog, the VA Connection, type in delegation, and there's a whole article on reverse delegation. Because I've heard a lot of you say to me, how can I get my client to fill in the blank? You can't get your client to do anything. They're running their own, they're running their own life. They have their habits, they have whatever. And while we can assist them, we generally cannot get them to do something. All right. So in order to provide the best service possible and get the best outcome with the least amount of stress for everyone, we need to get good at this reverse delegation. And we need to be really good at communicating and being thoughtful. Now, we have all different kinds of people as virtual assistants. We have extroverts and we have introverts. Now, extroverts are usually comfortable with being an extrovert. Introverts tend to feel like, I don't know why, but like they're at a disadvantage. Well, I'm an introvert, right? Okay, so we're going to knock that off right now, because introverts have superpowers that make this so much easier for us, because we process things a little bit longer before we speak, which means we have more time to think about it, right? Which is good. So this is actually something that it is, I think, tends to be easier for us. And and I'll tell you I'm walking on a balance beam here. Anyone can do this, and the reason I'm on the balance beam is because I don't want to skew this one way or the other, because we have VAs in our program who are very extroverted and they're very successful. The problem is that as an introvert myself, I know and I see all the time, people are like, I'm an introvert, I can't do that. Nonsense. Okay, nonsense. That's just you hiding behind that. There are ways to be very successful entrepreneurs as an introvert. Okay, so let's talk about some of the tricks that I've learned along the way. Okay, when When I talk to clients on the phone and they're giving me the work, I take copious notes in Evernote. Okay. I write down almost every word of their instructions, because here's the thing: when you have a full book of clients and you're sitting at your desk all day, you might meet with someone at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Monday and not even plan to get to this work until Wednesday at 3. I can't remember what I had for breakfast. So there's no way I'm going to remember the nuances of what they've said. So I write it down like word for word. Before we hang up or get off the Zoom call, I go back over my notes quickly, but thoroughly with the client to set the expectation. Now, before I learned to do this, here's what used to happen. I thought I had to know everything. I was afraid to ask questions. I remember literally getting off the phone and thinking, I actually don't know what she wants me to do. But I was so embarrassed to ask questions that I mean, it was it was a mess. So then I'd have to email and ask questions, and it was back and forth. And I felt kind of like an idiot because I was so scared of asserting myself in any way or asking questions. Little did I know that this is a superpower. And this is what I think made me attractive to clients and created long-term relationships, was that I already cared, but I acted upon the caring by asking questions. Okay. So you really want to take copious notes, and Post-its are not going to do it. If you want to write, you're going to need, a notebook right beside you where you're writing things down, or I type faster than I can write, and I bring it's just easier for me. So get a free version of a software called Evernote, create a work, what is it? It's a notebook that's for your clients, and then an individual note for each one of them, and just keep typing at the top. Okay. Yeah. Well, somebody says she needs an Evernote tutorial. It's in VA school. There is a tutorial on note taking in VA school in, I think it's module 9. Okay. So definitely check that out. All right. The next thing is I plan before taking action. If I'm reading the request, for example, I read it more than once. Say they emailed me more than once before I jump in. I think through the sequence of how the work will be done so I can be efficient and thoughtful about the end result. You have to be careful because clients are not great communicators sometimes. They're not great delegators, and they don't understand what they're asking you to do. So they might have the sequence off. So don't assume that they know what they're talking about. Just go into it like, okay, I'm going to set up this, whatever this is, this project, and think about the sequence of the steps and why they're important. Okay. The third thing, and I've kind of already talked about this, but ask questions, right? If something doesn't fit together, stop and either include a screenshot, right, with your request, or the other thing that's really great is video. You can get a free tool called Loom. Grab it. You can install the extension in your browser. And then what you can do is you can click on, you don't have to be on the screen, and you can say, I'm working on the project. I noticed that X, Y, and Z doesn't match up with what we talked about. You can see on the screen, what I need is 1, 2, 3. Can you please provide that? Very much, it makes communication so much more clear when people can hear you and see you. All right. And it's less frustrating for the client. Okay. And you'll get your answers faster and get back to work. All right. So ask questions. And the thing is when I'm asking questions in an email, I review them multiple times, because here's what happens. And this is a big, like hole that we fall into. We're not crystal clear because we're filling the words in our head. So I might say, can you please send me, I'm trying to think, the document we talked about. Okay. Like the person is instantly going to either send you the wrong thing, not know what you're talking about. It's rare that they're just going to be like, oh yeah, I remember, because they're doing something else too. So you want to say, can you please send me the letter to Joe that we talked about on Thursday so I can make the edits. Okay. You want to be really clear. So you want to take out this, look for these words because the thing That's when I have to replace a lot. Can you send me the thing? And when you see those words and they're not very descriptive, take them out and put more information in. Clients will love that. Okay. And you're going to be happier too, because you're going to get what you want. All right. And then the other thing you want to do when you're working with clients is suggest improvements. Now, as a VA, I do a lot of the same work over and over and over for many different clients. And that means I often have a much better handle on how things need to be done, right? I'm not shy about making suggestions. You want to be respectful. You don't want to go in like, are you crazy? You guys wouldn't do this anyway, but attitude matters. You don't want to be, being judgmental about it, but more like, I'm looking at this and I think if we do it this way, it might make the whole project more efficient, probably save you money. And I think that your customers are going to like it better too. Here's what I'm thinking, right? And then if they decide they want to do it the way that they've asked you to do it, you say, okay, and you do it and you let any kind of attitude go, because ultimately you're helping them with their work, however they want to do it. Okay. So working with the variety of client styles is part of what makes being a VA so much fun. The other thing is when you have a job and you work with the same person over and over and over, sometimes, personalities come into play, politics, all those things, and you are just completely separated from that, right? Because, if you work with someone for 5 hours a month, that's really not enough to have any of those things come into play. So I love that. And the other thing you're going to want to do, and this is really important when working with a number of clients and a variety of styles, is if a client doesn't put in please or thank you, insert it yourself. So if you're reading an email from a client, I want you to find the most, friendliest, generous voice you can and put that in your head, because sometimes clients are rushed. Sometimes clients aren't thinking about please and thank you because they have some giant pressure on them to get something done, or maybe they forgot to do something and now they're in trouble and they're asking you and they're saying, please, do X, Y, and Z. And you're like, whoa, where's that coming from? So you want to say to yourself, insert, Belinda, would you please X, Y, and Z? Thank you. Right. It doesn't hurt. And it's when we don't do that, it only impacts our mood. The client doesn't even know. Right. So talk to yourself when you're reading requests from clients in your friendliest, most generous voice. Okay, good. So let me just think if there's anything else I want to talk about working with a variety of client styles. And I don't think I do. I think that's everything I wanted to talk about. So if you are interested, we're having a mindset minute in about 5 minutes, all over the place. We're streaming in all the places we are now. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to talk about this concept. We talked about it a week ago of doing something different. So if you're feeling stuck in any way, jump into that training. I think you're going to like it. The mindset, it's about 15 minutes. And later today, we're going to have a training on the email newsletter system. So if you haven't started your newsletter yet, or you want to see an overview of how to take it next level, come join me at noon, and we're going to look deeply into that. Tonight at 7, we're having an open house. I'll be in my Zoom room. Last night we had a great turnout. It was a lot of fun. So join me at 7 o'clock. You'll get an email right at 7 p.m. Eastern with the link so you can jump in. And then tonight we'll be closing doors for VA School at midnight. I'm going to post a video that I'm going to make this afternoon with some of my chickens, or at least one of my chickens. So definitely watch all the places for that. It's going to be fun. I'm thinking about, I have 2 little yellow chickens. One of them is named Rosie, and she's very affectionate. And I think I'm going to grab Rosie, and I might even bring her up to my office. So we'll see how she likes that. Okay, good. Thank you for coming. I'll see you all later today. Have a great day. Bye for now.